Show you how the Lambda console works. This is how the Lambda functions, or this is where you can actually create your Lambda function. So let's create one. So if I go to create function, I'm going to start everything from scratch. Let's call this as dk function test 1. Let's code it in Python 3.6. Let's choose an existing role, and I'll call it as the dk hello world role. I'm going to create the function. It takes a little bit of time to create, but now here you can see is this is where you write your function. You can add any of the triggers from any of these events, that is Alexa skill set, API gateways, CloudFront, DynamoDB, S3, SNS, etc. So this gives you heaps of flexibility to actually attach any kind of trigger to trigger your Lambda function. This is where you write your Lambda function, and Amazon CloudWatch allows you to actually see if your Lambda functions have been triggered or no. And S3 helps you store any kind of resources if you want to store on S3. So let's start writing the Lambda function, right? Now, here a good thing is that you can actually have an inline Lambda function. That is, you can cut, copy, paste your file and your file. The only thing important is that your Lambda function has to be in a Lambda handler. So basically what we need to do is we will have to go cut, copy, paste this and put it in a Lambda function, where then my code can actually start running. The very first problem that we have with Lambda function is that I cannot store the file anywhere locally, because remember what Lambda does is that it is serverless, so it runs on any of the machines, but it doesn't have a storage capacity. So as a result of which we cannot store files on Lambda. So we might have to reconsider how to architect this in order to understand how do I use my files for Lambda. So we'll take a step back. We'll see how we want to re-architect this. But for now, let's understand there are two important things. One is that our function has to be in defined Lambda handler. And for this, our Lambda function should be Lambda function name, which is our actual Python file name. And then the Lambda handler is the function name, which is given in the inline code. Now, so let's do this. If I remove my JSON schema validation, uh, however, everything else remains the same. So what I'm going to now write is I'm going to just cut, copy, paste this and try and write it over there to see how it looks like. You can see immediately there's a save option that comes up. I'm going to save it. So the file's been saved. Now what I'm going to do is I need to test. So in order to test, I need to configure some test settings. So what I'm going to do is, because I want to trigger this Lambda function from an API gateway, I'm going to call it as the API gateway AWS proxy server. I'm going to call it the DK test 1. And this entire body, I'm going to replace it and paste my typeform JSON object that I'm expecting the data from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Actually, yes, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it here. Oh, looks like this didn't work properly. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to take the data from here. And copy paste it here. Create. So this is my test which has been created. Now I'm going to test this file. You can see that the function was saved successfully. However, there are execution logs. It's saying that it's unable to import module Lambda function. Let's see what the problem is. It's saying no module named pandas. So this is the very first and the biggest problem that we have, is because while writing Python, we use heaps of NumPy, pandas, scikit-learn libraries, and none of these libraries or dependencies are available in Lambda. So what we need to do is we need to create a deployment package for running these Python codes on Lambda. And creating these deployment packages on Python for Lambda is a little bit tricky. So I'll show you that in my next blog post.